What's going on, dudes and sports watchers and people in general? It's Howard here, and I'm back with some more content for the YouTube page. It's been a while, but as you see, I am at a new place with my new background, and it is a work in progress right now. I got some stuff over here on this wall for when we do live streams and certain podcasts, but for now, this is what I got, and today I'm going to be bringing you some Copa America preview coverage as we're underway, and it's getting close to time as I'm recording this to the start of it. And by the release time, it may be just a little bit into the beginning, but we'll see. Starting with Copa America coverage, we have four groups, Group A, B, C, D. They go across South America in the CONMEBOL and CONCACAF invites as well this year. And it's going to be interesting to see how that turns out, as in 2016 there was a little bit of fireworks. That was like the little peak moments that America had into maybe competing just in the future, and now they're looking for a big tournament. So let's break it down into what this field looks like for 2024. Starting with Group A, we have a team that's going to be a part of the first game on Thursday night, and that will be Argentina. They have won two of their last major tournaments that they've been in, and that is the Copa America and World Cup. So, as I said, that's really good for them. But their MVP is none other than Lionel Messi still. He's at the top of his game. He's dominating in the MLS, which, take it as you will, that's still impressive at his age as he's going. He has nothing left to prove. He's Lionel Messi. The last two major tournaments he's won already built up his resume. He took great part in both of those. And their X factor in this one is Alexis McAllister, who plays for Liverpool, and I think he is a very talented defender who missed a little bit due to injury. But overall, he had 10 goals, 10 assists in his first year as a big signing for a very major club in the Premier League. So it's interesting to see how Argentina turns out this year. They should be pretty dominant and still a solid team, favorites to win, in my opinion. The next team is the team that they will be facing in the first game, and that is Canada, who is a part of the North America side, and their first time in the Copa America this is. It'll be interesting to see how they do after they were very big disappointments in the 2022 World Cup, and they got a lot to prove in terms of if they're going to make any major noise in FIFA in terms of just a bunch of hypotheticals. But Jonathan David is their MVP. He's been their best guy since the start of the big run for Canada recently, and he's done pretty good as well playing in club level. So I'm interested to see how he does in this tournament for Canada's first Copa America. Their X Factor I have is Alphonso Davies, and that's maybe for the rest of the X Factors on this list a little bit seemingly derogatory for Alfonso, but at the same time, I'd like to see a little more, especially he's got rumors coming in to be Real Madrid's next big guy. So if he's got that on his plate, he's got a lot to prove in this Copa America tournament. Up next, we have Chile, who is the third team, and I think they will give Canada at the very least a run for their money, if not a very good chance at coming out the second best team of this group. They have actually won back-to-back titles in 2015 and 2016, so they were really good in the mid-2010s despite not reaching the World Cup in 2018, which is pretty wild to think about. But their MVP is Alexis Sanchez. Maybe a lazy take there, but I feel like he's just been their workhorse forever, and he's still doing decent playing for Inter Milan. So I would say that he is still their MVP going into this year, but it's definitely the end of his peak. I like their X Factor, Ben Barrenton Diaz. I apologize if I butchered that middle name, but he's a 25-year-old from Sheffield United, and he's done really good so far in 14 appearances for Chile, and I'm excited to see how he does in this tournament as well. And last is Peru in Group A, and I think that unfortunately this won't be a great run, as it looks like that there's a lot just really wonky about this roster. They had a bad fall in their international run, and if they finish last in this group, it could be bad for them. They really need to show something that their plan right now is working, And they got a new coach. Paulo Guerrero is their MVP I have for this one. He's a 40-year-old. He's the most talented on the team, it seems like. I mean, I don't know. I feel like they have a lot better out there, but Guerrero's been there forever. He's their key piece. A lot of fans seem to not want him on the team. We'll see how it goes in this tournament. Next up is Group B. This one's probably the most competitive, in my opinion. I could see 3 teams coming out number 1 in this, and honestly, there is not a team that I think is going to 100% be in last place. But we'll see. We're going to start off with the favorites of this group according to the majority, and that is Ecuador this year, which, as I go on with this group, you might be surprised by that. But Ecuador only had 1 competitive loss, albeit at the 2022 World Cup. They are looking to be really good on the rise. They have a lot of good young talent, and one of those guys is probably their best player at the moment, and that's Moises Caicedo. He was a signing for Chelsea. Not really too much for Chelsea just yet, but he did great on the international level. Scored big goals for the team in 2022 when they made the World Cup. That'll be interesting to see how he does and carries the weight on his back of this Copa America. Their X factor for this group is Piero Hincapié. He's a very aggressive yet smart 22-year-old defender for this team. I really just kind of how he's contributed and stuff. He seems to be a really big kind of unknown name for this team in a way, but I feel like he could have a big rise in this tournament. Jamaica is going to be the team that might be the odd man out of this group. It is interesting to see how it is. There's been a lot of fallout with their team, including their star Leon Bailey not making the team this year. Say that as you will of his club career, but his international career, that's going to be a pretty important loss. The MVP of this squad, I would say, is Bobby Cordova-Reid from Jamaica. He is going to be a solid guy. He is in the Premier League already. Their X factor, in my opinion, I just think it's their chemistry without Bailey. I mean, they really don't have a star player from their past tournaments in this squad, but I'm interested to see how they still come together without their big guy in a group that's going to be competitive, and they're most likely going to go through a loss or so in this one, I'd say. Venezuela would be the 3rd team that's a part of this group, and they are also a team not to sleep on, as they could also be really dark underdogs to have a far run in this tournament. They're looking to be on the uprise. Their consistency has struggled in recent games and friendlies, but they have a good defense in recent games. I would say they have really came up and been aggressive there. Their new coach in Fernando Batista is also pretty talented in how he's really started off this stretch for Venezuela. The MVP of this team is Yangel Herrera. He's had a great season for Girona, who's a really big riser in the Liga this past year. And I'm interested to see how he does in this tournament, facilitating how he did over in Spain. The X factor for this team I have is Salomon Rondon. He will most likely be their main guy up front, and this is a tournament where he's going to have to come up and be the big vet that Venezuela needs if they're going to go and make a deep run in this tournament, as I said before. Last but certainly not least, and why I just don't have any bias in this whatsoever, is Mexico. Lozano is their manager right now, and knowing them just through my history of watching him when I was very little to now, it is a odd time to be a fan of Mexico soccer, football, whatever you want to call it. It's going to be an interesting tournament, and Jamie Lozano, or Jimmy, is going to have a huge tournament, being the youngest coach in this Copa America, and prove hopefully that he is not going to be a scapegoat for this team. But their MVP, I would say, is Edson Alvarez. He plays in the Premier League for West Ham United. Rumors to be potentially transferred to Manchester, who knows. But he is the captain of the team, and he is very solid for being a Mexico soccer player at the moment. So I'm very interested to see how he does. I also like Luis Chavez. He balled out at the World Cup last time, and I think he's still at good form. It'll be interesting to see how he does now he's made the squad.
This is the X Factor that I have. He's not necessarily the X Factor that's underappreciated, as he's had a lot of controversy around him, but this is Santi Jimenez's tournament, who recently declared Mexico nationality to play for Mexico in the last few years, and he's not, or a couple of years, but he's not done really up to par as a lot of fans expected him to do. In my opinion, I don't think he got fed the ball, but there's a lot in this team that just really needs to click together, and I think if he's rolling, I think this team will be at a very good spot. But in general, just get it together, Mexico. Please don't embarrass me. They should make it out of this they should make it out of this group, and semifinals would make me a happy human. But yeah, we'll see.